Hey everyone, Sawmill Charlie. Welcome everybody. Hey Steve, Southern Colorado. Steve up there in New York. Steve Honer. And there's Ed, DCBs. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the link here. A couple of minutes. There's the link, guys. I'm going to go in here to the other part of this. And now it's pinned. And everything is good. Randy, Jason, Cajun, Brad. Hey, Jeff. Mike. Mike is outside with the bees. Can you do a live, Mike? Show us what you're doing. There's Russell, Tim, Hannah. Anybody wants to jump on, just click the link and come on in. It was pretty nice. Yep, Jason, the locusts are blooming in northern Harford County, that's for sure. They're blooming here about 2 days ago next to my house. The hives are loving it. They're not as feisty. Hey, Todd from out in California. And they are making some honey. I checked about 8 of my hives last night, no swarm cells. And Steve says there's finally getting some nice weather up there in Pennsylvania. Today was really nice. Yesterday evening was quite nice. Hey, Darren, seeing your post there on Facebook. And there's Keith from the sunny foothills of North Carolina. And there's Laura. Hey, Laura. And anyway, it's been nice here today. It's supposed to be nice and great all weekend. I'm definitely going to get out there tomorrow and check the rest of my honey hives and do a video. And finally, this is the first weekend we have had, and I'm going to say approximately 8 weeks that it has not rained. And hey, Carl. And as far as, every day is going to be pretty. The other weekends, healthy honey. Hey, it's usually I'm out there in the hive area and it'll rain in the morning and then I'll have 2 or 3 hours to get something done. And then here comes the rain again. But this weekend is going to be different. And Brad's down in Nashville, Tennessee. Her daughter's in at a Taylor Swift concert. That's pretty cool. Hey, Morgan. Jason's having problems keeping them in the box. I had 2 swarms simultaneously last Saturday, and it was getting late, and there was a couple logs, maybe 20 feet away, and they were on the side of the logs. One of them I showed in a short, got it in that deep nuke, and then I came back later that night, and they had flown away. And then the other one was in 2 medium boxes, and I got them on the hive stand, but I have not had time to check them. And I'm not, I didn't see any queens. I'm not sure. Some of the swarms that I have caught look to be with virgins in there. So we'll see. I have to dig into it tomorrow. And I was supposed to get some queens sent to me, and I haven't heard anything yet. They're at least a week late. I did do some queen rearing. I did have about 14 cells in the incubator. I went down there this evening. They were supposed to start hatching today. I got one that's hatched. So I've got a little bit of crystallized honey on the outer of the cage. I locked them up, Steve. I didn't. I mean, what it amounted to was it was so late in the evening, dark was pretty near, as far as, within an hour. And they were trying, I was getting them to where they would walk in. It was a big thing. Use some of Bob's swarm lure, and that seems to bring them in. I had the one there that flew away. They came in, checked out the comb. They really just didn't want to come in. And I put some swarm lure in there, and it seemed like they all walked in after that. There's Chris, the bug man. Hey, Photo Funny. So, anybody want to come on and chat? I don't know where Bob's at tonight. Maybe he's probably sleeping, or he's out in the bee yard working, maybe. And all that. So let me see. I'm going to change my settings in the virtual background. I think I have a new photograph that I can change up the things. There it is right there. Got some popcorn tonight. Back to my old habits. There's the yard behind me as it is right now. Most of them have at least 2 supers on, and most of them are full, or pretty much full. And some of them, I'm going to say yellow hive off to my left. That might be a Demery. The top box, the yellow box, might have several frames of brood. I did go back to equalizing my hives where I moved the brood up from the brood box. I'll say half of it, and it has to be fully capped. No eggs, no, maybe some older larvae, but, and put that upstairs into a top box up on top of the stack. And, so Chris is on the road in Florida. I wonder where he's going to go. Oh, it's Lynn. Okay. Photo Funny is Lynn. Okay. Lynn's kind of the head of our local Facebook social club in beekeeping. I have to put her down. Now, here I am now. That's Lynn here. Greater Baltimore Beekeepers Association. We have a lot of fun. We go out last Saturday. That was one of the reasons I didn't lock them up, Steve. I was right about time to get ready to go to, we go to have fun at a lot of times we're doing microbreweries, and we all kind of hang out there and just sit around. And if you like to drink beer. I always get a Diet Coke and maybe a over there they had some pit beef at this one place, and sit around and talk bees and all that. And well, Ziggy, I'm glad that it says, I'm glad to see you made it on and finally catch a live. Welcome aboard. Where are you located at, Z? What state? How many members are in the Baltimore Club? Lynn, how many are there? There's 100 or so in there, I believe. It's a relatively new club. It's a more of a social thing. We will have, um, we're going to have a live meeting at one of our members' apiary and kind of dig into the hives and all. I know most folks here are from different states. I mean, there's one, let's see, one of our members here is in the same county I am and all that. So, anyway, oh, Ontario, Canada. All right, well, welcome. You're one of our other um, Canadian Bee Chat members. We have James from um, out there on the west coast there of Canada, Alberta. And then, of course, we got Brad and we got Ian in Manitoba area. And Morgan, he's from Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been out that way. All right. Greater Baltimore has, for the ones who are asking that, Darren, it's 103 members on Facebook and 15 email members. I'm not really sure what that means, but we do have a good time. Like I say, get together. Our thing is all about having fun and talking bees and more of a social group. We're not really into, I'll say most beekeeping clubs are into public education. And, you know, we're definitely going to educate each other in the club. Oh, they're not on social media. Okay. Did you see James' new haircut? Yeah, I did see James. Everybody that doesn't know James, he's out there in not Manitoba, but Alberta, Canada. He was had a short where he was delivering his nukes. I think he has like 68 nukes that he sold. Yeah, Cajun, Brad, I've sold 11 nukes. I've got one more to go. He was sort of a straggler coming in at the last minute. So as soon as I get another nuke that's up to my standards as far as 3 frames of brood and a frame of food and let's say a frame of pollen, then I'll call him up and get him taken care of. Jason's got one by Falling Branch. We have not been there yet. Our group is kind of like we try to keep it centrally based, and that's around the Baltimore region area. We were at the Big Truck Brewery, I think it was called. Really nice place, great big original barn, and all the beams and everything. A lot of people there. Jason, are you a member of Baltimore, Greater Baltimore Beekeepers? If you're not, I would definitely invite you along to do that for sure. Morgan, I don't understand what you said there. Do you sell your swarm catches? Sometimes, I guess. I mean, the main thing about swarms, I want to see whether that we'll have to see what the swarm how it produces. That's the main thing. Um, first, I've had a couple swarms out there. I had a hard time finding a queen. So that tells me most likely there's a young virgin in there. Or maybe there isn't a queen in there. I really don't know. But, I got you. You must be on your phone or something. But, as long as it's a decent nuke, I'll sell it and all. But right now, I got queen issues in my area. And I got that's Jack Air, JNDS. Where I've got, well, I know I got one or two honey hives are definitely queenless. Yeah, I know. I got a phone call. Do you know these people that just bought this stuff? And I said, sure, Bob. I know who they are. I talked to them. Yeah, absolutely. Put a drop, put a spray, squirt some of it in your swarm track and see what happens. That's what it's there for. It's supposed to draw. Hey, Jack. I like packages. Don't know what the queen's going to do. Well, packages are okay. Uh, yeah, Lynn's got some issues with queens. I got, like I say, I've got some issues. I got a queen, like I say, back to my queen ring. Hey, Grayson. Um, and what do we got? Awesome. I'll try that. Maybe they'll go in and set up high up in a tree. Yeah, that's a possibility there for sure. Well, that's fine, Jason. You, I'll have to look you up in my registry here, so and see whether or not you're a valid member. You can always come in as a member at my club. And my swarms are doing great. That's Chris the Bug Man. That's cool. But anyway, back to my queens. I got a home built incubator. You can see that on one of my videos. It's just a refrigerator. I use the freezer compartment up above as my incubator. And I had grafted here, oh, I guess it's 2 weeks ago on a Sunday. And it was a very nice, the weather was very nice. But then in our area, hey, Stuffy, and it became quite cold. I mean, it got down, some nights it was like 37, 38 degrees, which I did not have my cell builder in a license, insulated hive, which I have one, and I should have had it done, but I was trying to scramble between the weather conditions at the time, and I was wondering whether these cells would get chilled. I do have one. She actually came out today so far, and I picked on a couple other ones which were chilled or dead. And so at least I got one, and I fed her um, some honey, mostly sort of like a crystallized honey that I have on standby. So hopefully she will be going into one of my honey hives that is queenless for sure. And James here, let's see, trading 15 frame nuke. One foundation, one honey, pollen, two cap brood, one eggs and larvae for 2 gallons of crystallized honey and a five drawn frames. So you're going to trade that. Okay. All right. Trading I got it now. 1 5 frame nuke. Yeah, but you still have, you got 2 frames of cat brood and a frame of eggs, which is 3 frames of brood. And for 2 gallons of crystallized honey and a 5 and 5 drawn frames. Huh? As long as you think that's a good trade, that's great. Hey, Randy, Tar Heel, Rodney. So that's what's happening here for me. Hey, there's Mark Miller coming. Hey, Mark, are you out in the bee yard? Yeah, that's for sure. As far as the queens go, but it's like one older one of our members in Baltimore Bee Club. He told me, around here where I live, don't start raising queens until May, until the weather settles, especially when it's a cold. This year it was kind of like last year, cold, wet spring. Oh, it's raining out there. Okay, well, we're finally getting a break this weekend. You guys had all the nice weather there for a while. You coming on, Mark? And but like I say, I got one queen out of it, which is nothing great. But it was, I was lucky probably to get that with the way the weather is. It's chilled everything. So I'm going away next. I'll let everybody know next Friday night I will not be on. I got to go to West Virginia. Probably Bob might be on that night. And I'm not sure how. I won't be able to do the show. I'll put it to you that way. I might be able to come on maybe Bob's show as far as remotely with my phone or something. But I will not be next Friday. I'll put out a notice. I'll figure that out, how to do that. And but I think I'm going to try to graft tomorrow if everything goes well, since there's nice weather. And the weather at night, I'm going to try to swap those hives around to where I'm going to put it in a cell or licensed insulated hive. And Ziggy here was. Yeah, that's kind of the way it happened for me here. I had a nice day and then all of a sudden everything went to heck. And so anyway, I'm going to try to graft tomorrow. And then I should be able to put those cells should be capped by Thursday, and I should be able to put them in the incubator, and then they will be fine for me, for the next 5 or 6 days. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Ed's talking about. I found out what May is. It may rain, it may freeze, and it may flood. It may be windy. That's pretty funny, Ed. Here, it looks like our extended forecast is going to be pretty much warm, 75 degrees during the day and at least 50 to 60 degrees at night. So, and then the picture behind me is fairly recent picture of my honey hives. That's not all of them, but a good portion of them. The ones down in here in the middle, they're kind of weakish. The one with the brick on top there, or the block, cement block. There's a couple of them right in there that are just not performing very well. I got queen issues there. I think we need some new queens. And the rest of them are flying pretty strong today. Nukes are doing well. Have I tried to isolate the queen for timing box? I have not. I just, it's just, for me, it's been like I was saying in earlier. Um, I would have, it would say it was going to rain the whole weekend. Then the weather would change and say, okay, Saturday, and most all the, and more, I usually work Saturday morning from 8 to 12 at my business. And then they said, okay, it's going to shower in the morning. And then it'd be nice from about noon until about 4 o'clock. And then here comes another storm. And that's what would happen. And so I'm like, I'm trying to get so much done in that very short window. And I just didn't have any time to do that kind of stuff. I got the cage and everything. I want to do it. But like I said earlier, the weather here hasn't cooperated. It's not warm. This month looks like the most promising, time to raise queens. Thanks, Jason. Yeah. Darren heard the buzz from 100 feet away. Yeah, I went out there and actually mowed the grass some in this apron right behind me. And it was in the morning, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and they were all out and doing quite well. And then over here on the back of this picture where there's tree line is, you can't see it behind this old beat up camper that my brother seemed to bring in, but there's a big line of locust trees. Hey, Keith. Yeah, I have mine too. Favor swarming. Well, I know for some of you guys are watching my videos. I definitely what I seen in the high. I went through 8 of them last night trying to get ahead, and it was a nice um, weather. And no swarm cells. I mean, I did have some. I did find a queenless hive, and I'm going back to what I've been doing is equalizing the hives with the brood, and then I'm going to, if I have a lot of brood in the box in the bottom 2 mediums, which is my brood chamber, I will pull about half of that. It has to be fully capped out of that, and then I will have the queen excluder and then say so many honey supers, and then the top box, I'm going to use that as a kind of a holding tank, or I'll say, for that brood. Now I'll shake all the bees off, put that cat brood upstairs in that last box, and the bees will come up there and cover it up, keep it nice and warm. And then I know where, if I like some of these hives behind me here in the middle, if I get into them and say, hey, they need some brood to boost them up, I just go back to the other hives that have that on the top and pull out some brood frames, and along with the bees too, and just drop them in them hives, and that'll bump them. Hopefully, boost the hives up. Yeah, I can see Landon was talking about the locusts being totally in full bloom here around the Baltimore region area. It started about 2 days ago, and you could just start to see it starting to blossom a little bit. Since this really warm weather hit, it really has opened up quite a bit as far as the bloom goes. So, Laura wants to know, have we didn't extract anything? What is your swarm control method? Well, Laura, I haven't done any extraction of honey. I do have supers that are full of nectar, but they haven't capped any of it yet. Um, Swarmer control method. My main thing is to go in there and do a rolling demery, or I call it a modified demery, where I'm pulling half the brood out. And I would think that's kind of the same thing where you're bringing the brood up and then putting the empty comb back down. And so far, so good. That's good. That's what I'm going to do. That's what seems to be a proven um, for me. Here comes Mr. Markin, somebody to talk to.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, thanks for coming in. I was getting kind of, getting lost of words of what to talk about here.
I figure I'd let you sweat it out for about 30 minutes. How y'all doing?
Well, not too bad. There's Brad. Thanks. Hey, Brad. And I'm not doing too bad. And Carl's in there from up here in Upper Pennsylvania. Not too bad. I mean, we're finally getting a break on the weather. That's the big thing for me. We're finally getting one weekend with no rain, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hey, James, good to see you. Seen that there video. You guys hauling the nukes out for sale. Oh, you're sideways, Mark.
Something's happening to my phone, Charlie. Let me figure this out.
Okay. All right. Whoop. I lost him. He'll be back. So I guess he lost connections. All right, Brad's eating supper. Hopefully it's something good. I'll be glad to see you come on in. I got some questions for you and James. I've been thinking about something I've kind of noticed between some of your thought processes and with James and Ian and you, Brad. Maybe you can expand on it. Yeah, but yeah, I'm planning on doing that myself tomorrow. I think if everything works well, James, as far as grafting goes. And Brad's finally getting some warm weather. Hopefully it's 60 degrees up there. So, yeah, I know James and Brad. I mean, well, actually, James has been getting some pretty nice warm weather up there where he lives. And Brad and Ian have been getting a lot of snow, but that's kind of went away from what I could see of the videos. Near 70 degrees, man, a heat wave, Manitoba, that's for sure. Here comes Mark back. There you are.
Well, try it again, Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's raining there in Tennessee?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we expecting rain, I think, most of the weekend and up to about Wednesday, I think. So it's going to slow things down for a little while. Now I got to watch out for swarm cells. There goes my phone again. What's
You're
going
good.
on?
You're good. Fine.
It's going dark on me.
Oh, yeah?
There it went.
Huh. You there?
Yeah, I can
I
hear
can
you,
hear
but
you.
I can't see you.
Yeah, you're frozen, but I can hear. There you are. Now you're back.
I don't know why it's fading. See if that works.
Dennis is 90 degrees. My goodness. Where are you at, Dennis? But uh, anyway, so yeah, you're getting the rain. We're finally getting a break from all that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to say that's grafts that I did. They pretty much all of them chilled. I got one virgin down there in the incubator right now. I fed her. There we go. I fed her a little bit of crystallized honey. Is the battery low, Mark?
No. I'm getting some warnings that I've got a virus.
I don't know. Now, James is watching for evacuation alerts due to fires here today. Prairie fires.
So I cleared
Wow.
that out. Let's see what that does.
Yeah, it looks good to me. But three boys want to know what's new in the bee yard. Mark, anything?
No, just rain right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it had been raining here quite a bit, and that's why I was kind of rushing through the here comes Todd from Mountain California.
How you doing, Charlie?
Good, good.
Hi, Todd.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm good. Charlie, I'm going to get off here and go and see if my wife can figure this out, and I'll be back.
All right. Just come on back.
All right.
So I went and looked at some of my hives, and they're not bringing in as much nectar from the oranges as they thought, or as I thought they
Right.
would. But we got a downpour in the last couple of nights. But look at what the rain. You see. I don't know if you could see this. Kind of hard. That's what the rain's done to these petals. And I got a bee in my face as I say that. But see, here's what a flower should look like. Let me see. Right there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So it is I don't know if you can see the tree, but I only see one flower on this tree. This is pitiful.
I see
so I
the
don't know
one
what kind
white
of
one
crop.
there.
Yeah, that one right there. This last year and every year before was full. Some of the trees have buds on them and flowers, but some of the petals have already been knocked off, probably from the rain. I don't know if it hailed here last night, but things aren't looking too bright, and it looks like it wants to rain here pretty quick. But anyway.
Well, you say you have hail. Did you have some kind of a storm out there that would generate that?
Yeah, we had. It was weird yesterday. We had
there are
probably right by here.
Lynn wanted to know what kind of tree. It's an orange tree. He's in an orange grove in California.
And these are nabals. They're not
navel oranges. Okay.
Yeah, they're not Valencia. But yeah, some of these trees. Let me get around here. Some of them are packed in here, but again, some of them look good. But then here's one where the leaves are knocked off. Here's a bud that hasn't opened yet, which is very strange. But yeah, all of these trees should be like white. They should look like they've been snowed on. And I don't know if you could catch the color, but the color is
green, and I do see some oranges with some white buds.
Yeah, these oranges should have been picked already. They haven't been picked this year. They're not going to be picked. So I've been taking oranges home like every day. I'm up to my ears in oranges at home. But anyway, so that's kind of what I'm up to. Let me see if I can find a clementine. There's one or two clementine trees out here that finally budded.
Now, is that a type of orange, Todd?
Yeah, that's a smaller orange that it looks more, how would you say, kind of pitted, I guess. It's a different. It's the same color, but it's just kind of a weird. It has a weird looking skin on it, and I've never seen these things bloom this late. So it's going to be interesting to see how much honey I even get from this. Now this tree has one bud right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's some on the inside, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. There's plums out here, peaches over there. But yeah, it's
So you had a lot of rainfall problems this year, didn't you?
oh yeah, we've the highest amount of rain that we've had recorded here was back in 1983 was 21 and a half inches in a season. And right now, well, I didn't check today, but right now, as of last week, we were at about 20 and a quarter. So it's almost a record year of water. And here's what I'm talking about color. You could see that where it's just kind of, there's a bee on it too. But it's kind of almost yellowish or
Yeah, I see the bee too.
yeah. But they don't look healthy. I don't know what's up. This is a leaf curl, which happens, but I see more of it this year than I have in the past. But I think it's all because of the water. If there's such a thing as getting too much water, I think it was this year.
It can be. Yeah, that's could be.
But we've had a lot of waste here. We don't, as odd as it sounds, we don't have anybody to pick these trees. So
Why they all come to
they're just
don't have the help or can't find the help.
Yeah, this is just a 10-acre farm, and these growers that they contract with teams that come in to pick whatever they have. They're not gonna waste their time on a 10-acre farm. They'd rather go hit like a 200-acre, 300-acre farm. So it's kind of sad, but there are a couple of employees here, but it's just too much for them to handle. And we have figs over here. No vegetables planted this year because of the water. Although down at the bottom of that hill, that open area, I planted buckwheat last year, and so that'll come back up probably in another month, and that'll help with the dearth, which we will have pretty soon. I just don't know when.
Right.
Anyway,
but as far as your,
that's kind of about it.
All right, slit your. But there we go. Now we're focused.
Okay, sorry.
Well, your connection's a little bit slow, but as far as your nectar flow, it's pretty much in the buds of those trees as far as your honey crop, right?
I hope.
Yeah.
I really only get orange is the main part, but there's also peach and plum, and there's nectarine. But it's anybody's guess how much. There's honey in the top boxes right now. I was down there just a little while ago peeking in, but who knows? I don't know how much I'm going to get. Last year, I left all the honey on them because there was hardly any, because we only got 5 inches of rain last year. So there was no reason for me to take off just a little bit. I just left it on for feed, and they used it up, and then I had to supplement that anyway, probably I think it was in July. But it's been a rough couple of years, at least here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is an organic farm, so that also changes things. The watering obviously is okay, but pesticides, you can't use that, can't use herbicides. So
Yeah, well, it's
it
an
just it
organic
makes a
farm,
difference.
so they're not doing that. So that really helps you out there, I think.
What's that?
Yeah. I say when it's an organic farm, so that actually would be helpful for your bees.
Yeah, yeah, it is. They venture around out here. There's wildflowers. There's other homes and ranches out here that they go, get whatever. And who knows, those people might be spraying or probably spraying Roundup on their weeds and dandelions and stuff. So, but for the most part, they stick around here. Well, they don't stick around here. They get a lot of their nectar from around here.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, so the main nectar around here that they get are nectarines, peaches, plums, and oranges.
Yeah.
So this year I thought, you know what? I want to put on the label. I can't call it orange honey because it's not orange honey 100%. They have, the peaches, plums, and nectarines in it. So I thought about taking the first two letters of each uh, fruit and making a word out of it. And I came up with knee peplor. Call it just some funny thing, some eye-catching thing that might catch someone's attention. Um, I don't know. And then I'll obviously have an explanation on the label. But
Yeah. Or you could have the beginning of the letter of each plant, or like orange and an O. You could have it to where it's bold faced on the O, and then it has the rest of the spelling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that. From top to bottom.
Yeah. Now, Laura, she's up in Pennsylvania. She said, "How about fresh fruit honey?" That's
yeah.
There's that's a nice catchy name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Lynn, she wants to know what was the word that you come up with?
Knee peplor. NEPE PLOR. So it's nectarine, peach, plum, and orange. The first two letters of each fruit.
First two letters. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I think I would go with Laura's suggestion, fresh fruit honey.
Yeah, it might sound a little more inviting than who's ever heard of knee peplor honey.
Yeah, I would say so. So,
well,
have any swarms or anything like that?
Oh gosh, yeah, I had a bunch. I caught all of them back but one. That was way up. It was in one of these trees here, probably about 30 feet off the ground. But I caught 7 of the 8 swarms that I know of.
That's good.
Yeah, and they're doing fine. Both the mother colony or the original colony is fine, and the swarm is fine. They're growing in both boxes, so everything's good. One thing I haven't done this year yet, believe it or not, is grafting. So,
yeah, I was talking about that earlier, and
I heard you. Yeah,
and I just it's been cold and wet,
mm-hmm.
and then even next week it's supposed to be nice. I think Monday, and then it's showers for the next 3 days in the middle of the week. So I don't.
I'm all
but
rained
we
out.
do need the rain here. We definitely do
too.
need the rain. It has been dry,
mm-hmm.
and all that, and for the hay that my son actually makes hay for horses and stuff for his business.
Yeah,
and all that.
I just haven't done it because of the same reasons: cold, wet weather, and no flight time. I mean, even if I could graft, it seemed like it was raining every 3 days, and there's no way virgins can get out and fly, or unless they timed it just right.
Right.
It was weird this year. So yeah, I'm going to start grafting Sunday. No, I'll do it after work on Thursday. I'm going to build a starter finisher on Sunday, and then let them go for 4 days, and then knock down the cells in there, and then I'll graft. So,
Yep. James, he's going to try to get graft, I think, tomorrow or Sunday. And he had sent me a video of it's pretty grainy, but it looks like it's definitely I don't know whether it's the prairie's on fire or what, but there's definitely you can see the black plume of smoke up in the sky and everything and all that. But
that's what it looked like here yesterday. There was a couple funnel clouds popping down, and
really, you got that weather?
Yeah, it was weird.
Mark's back.
Try it again.
Yeah,
there you go.
And now Mark, if you've been keeping up with him, he's in the last month we counted up. Mark got 125 queen cells out of one hive.
I saw that,
and all the queen grafting cells that I've seen were beautiful cells and everything.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that on every one of
recipe.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
I said I'd like to do that on every one of them. Would you?
Oh yeah, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't think I have enough room for that many cells that quick, but unless I'm selling them fast, like that kind of thing.
I asked Mark about his recipe, what he feeds them, feeds the builders. So I'm going to start that. I'll make that this coming week and put it in there on Thursday after work. Get them going.
Yeah. I think thin syrup is the key, even if you have a nectar flow, put it to them.
Yeah. You missed the orange orientation I gave. I don't know if I have a nectar flow or not anymore. And if I do, it's just about dead because I think the farm got hit with hail last night, and at least heavy rain. It's knocked all the petals. Well, most of the petals off the flower. So I don't know.
That would ruin it, wouldn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Sure would.
So, do you use pollen patties also? I'm pretty sure you do, don't you, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I use the pollen patties with the I mix my own. I put apis in there.
Put apis biologic in, and then
everything you can do will help. You know.
And you put apis biologic in your thin syrup too.
Yeah.
So do you got any of that, Todd?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to make up the thin syrup, and I make my own patties too. So I need to make up a batch of that. My goal is this year I want to get between 80 and 100 queens. That way, I'm probably looking at hopefully 60, 65, 70 that I could get mated. Who knows? Maybe all the blue jays got washed away this year, and I'll be in luck with them coming back.
So far, my mating success has been decent. It ain't been terrible. Usually that first round's awful because of the weather, but it wasn't too bad. I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't bad. Now it could be getting worse with these storms rolling in now. So.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to cut out. I'm going to go lock the gate and get out of here and get some food, and then I'll jump back on as soon as I get done. So I'll be back in about 20 minutes.
All right. Good to hear from you.
All right. Well, I'll see you in a bit.
All righty.
Bye.
Well, so far so good, Charlie. It ain't went out.
No, what happened to it?
I think it was the timeout screen.
Okay.
Display thing. I've set it for 10 minutes. So if I go out 10 minutes, there's something wrong somewhere. It shouldn't go out while I'm live.
Yeah, it shouldn't. But I was reading some of the different comments. We got Brad coming in, I think. There he is. Direct from Manitoba, Canada.
Looks like he's having troubles too.
I
He's
don't know.
muted.
Can you hear us, Brad? You're muted. He's trying to get on. You there, Brad?
Hello, come in. He blinked.
Yeah. He's
A lot of it's just weather.
I don't know. Unmute mic. I'm gonna click on that and see if that'll work.
Tonight. I don't know if it's my internet or my computer.
There we go. Jason wants to know, Mark, does he plant crimson in the spring or the fall? Crimson clover. You've got two big patches of that
In the fall.
planted in the fall. You with us, Brad? We're good.
He's probably going to go back out and try it again.
Mm.
I'm getting ready to mow them down as soon as they quit blooming. And I think I'm going to do some sunflowers.
I don't know. Now, do you make hay out of that crimson clover for the horses?
No, I just mow it down, till it in.
Brad's still having connection problems or something.
Yeah. Oh, so you got some hatching, Charlie?
What's that? Oh, yeah, I got one queen. Out of all that, there's one that hatched this evening. I went down and just to see if there was anything.
When are they due to hatch?
They're due to today, actually, or this tonight. Jason wants to know, do you broadcast it or you drill it in?
Just broadcast it and then drag a hair over it.
Yeah, just kind of put a little bit of dirt over top of it.
Yeah, I just make me a homemade hair, drag over it.
Russell wants to know whether Brad got all these pallets done. I don't think he never gets them done. He just keeps getting more orders for them.
I wished I had about 30 or 40 of them.
You can. It's really drop.
You're broken up, Brad.
There you go.
I don't know. Brad, sign off and then sign back on and see if we get a better connection. Circle T, Mark's in Tennessee. He's on the west side of Nashville, I guess, isn't it? Close to the Kentucky line.
Yeah, I'm in the very northwest corner. Right off of Highway 51. Home of Discovery Park.
What is that?
It's like a
theme
big
park?
Yeah, it's like a big museum of discovering science and history and all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Brad said he's going to try a little bit later. All right. Yeah, Keith. Mark's not too far from Kent Williams. I'm not sure just how far away, but he's actually went up to Kent's. What was it last week? He had an open house thing.
Yeah. There we go. I'm going dark again.
What was it? Well, you look good. You're doing fine with me. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Charlie.
Now there's Mr. Bob. Where have you been at?
Bob's here too. Hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
Now that
Tom,
we got some brains in here, y'all tell me what's wrong with my phone.
Operator error. It's the lift nut behind the wheel.
It's going to like time out. Like if you turn your phone on and set it down and then it waits so long and then times out, it's doing that while I'm live.
You gotta really? It should. Do you have to go into your settings, your sleep timer thing? Mine will do it when I'm using it during the day.
Right. I set it. It was set for like 5 seconds, and I set it for 10 minutes. And sure enough, 10 minutes went by, and it did it again. But why is it doing it live?
Is that mine?
I've got 4 of them. Well, I bottled 50 of them.
Well, Bob, I caught another swarm off your lure. So 2 out of 5 so far. Woohoo!
That's
And
good, man.
Caught 3 swarms yesterday and 1 today. Getting calls left and right. It turned some down.
They're
And let's see. Lynn is on here that bought your swarm lure. She's gonna try to spray it in her trap and see if she can't attract the bees to go into the trap instead of up in the trees.
it's swarm lure is starting to slow down sales wise for sure.
Keith says to turn off the battery saver, Mark.
Where's that located at? What setting?
It shouldn't be. Well, you got a Samsung.
Yeah.
That's right.
So right there, when you pull it down, which one? That's second one right there says power saving. It looks like a little battery. There's Bradley.
And then Lynn says she likes the markers too. Greater Baltimore Beekeepers.
Cool, thank you. Hey, I finally got some frames over there, Charlie.
Oh yeah.
I went in there. I called him. I said, "Do you have a case of medium frames? Plastic?" "Yes." "Got them." "Great. I'm on my way." I get there. They had. So I was the way I think is, if I called you last time and you didn't have any because you were waiting on a shipment, well, if you got one, you have more, right? No, I bought everything that had 93 frames. So, and then between that and what I had here already, I filled up like 15 medium supers and put them on today.
Is that Acorn?
Yeah, Acorn double wax. That's what they had. So they went straight in. I didn't wax those. Then I had my own waxed ones. But to answer your question, I was asleep, Charlie. That's where I was.
That's what I kind of figured. You were tired.
I went and laid down. I had dinner. I laid down, and I was like, I always get up right at 7 o'clock. Well, I said, "Hey, Google, what time is it?" 8:57. Ooh. Took off. Came in here.
Yeah, I just got back in from doing a 3-way split at my other yard.
3-way?
Yeah.
So the one that I did, I don't know, I guess beginning of last month is when I must have done it. The triple deep that I broke into 5 nukes, every one of those nukes got a super today on a 10 frame. So they're plugging right along.
Yeah, I could have made 5 or 6 splits easily, but I only want a few hives at that place, like 5 at the most.
Buddy, can you
Yeah, now
hear
we
me
can.
now?
Yeah, now we can.
Here we got you, Brad.
Computer problem, Brad. Now he's froze.
He locked up again.
I did sell my first swarm lure to Puerto Rico today.
Answer that.
You're still breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, he's looks frozen to me, so I don't know if he's.
Yeah.
Bobbing on someone has died. Yep, probably me. Let me see. I was like, well, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either I'm going to get there and Charlie's done already because nobody jumped on and joined him, or they're good to go.
Well, Bob, I was on just a few minutes before you got on, so I was late.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
No, I was sitting here treading water. I was doing pretty good, keep my nose above the water line there, talking about, what I've been doing and weather and queen rearing and all that kind of stuff. And
well, you saw my 5 queen hive the other day. The Nuke that
okay.
I went out there and you could hear her piping and they were chewing the end off and she was trying to chew out and they were trying to help her to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw another queen go right by her. So that's right when my mentor came. So we caged that queen and the other one hatched out. We caged that queen and then we hung them in between the frames and went and did some other work in the yard and came back. Well, there was 2 more queens. So we started splitting those out, the colonies. And then the next day I came back and Bob was my uncle. There was another queen walking around. So I took that last roller cage that I was leaving that queen for that one and put her somewhere else. So it was 5 queens hatched off of that one. Probably 6, but I didn't look. When I saw the 5th one, I was like, well, 6th one's just sacrificial if she made it or if she got stung out, one of the 2. So just
I don't know if I'm fit to talk technology wise, but Bob, just it's not exactly the right,
do what? What'd you say?
Not exactly right something.
Yeah, we went down the rabbit hole with the Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. Different Bob, not me though.
Hey, Lee.
Hey, Lee.
Lee's late too. Look at us.
Yeah, everybody.
I'm blaming on time change.
So yeah, I did I guess you might say I did a Cayman early on as far as just sitting there chatting, but I didn't really have a lot of questions and everything. Steve said I did great.
Knock on wood, none of my 30 hives have swarmed yet. Woohoo.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I did have a nuke. I had a customer who was supposed to pick up nukes 2 weeks ago. I took a frame out, put an empty comb frame in just to slow them down, and one of them the nuke swarmed on me.
I had that happen with some of mine. It didn't swarm, but it was getting so strong before the customers would come. So I just wanted to split those nukes into more nukes.
Yeah, she's picking it up Sunday. So I put a new queen in it.
one thing can't find down here without making them. So
Somebody wants to come in. Oh, there's Todd from California. There he is.
Hey, Todd.
Got
Hello
everybody
again.
up.
oh, it's going to be a long night tonight. Everybody showed up.
Everybody showing up.
We got our sleep in. We're all good. I talked to James today too, so he might be coming in if he gets done.
I don't know. He sent me a video here. I mean, I got a little chance to watch a little bit of it. It's like a huge fire out there. At least the sky's full of black smoke. And something about evacuation and all. Is it dry out? I don't know if it's dry out there or not. I thought he'll find out, I guess.
Today was his Nuke day.
Yeah, I seen the little clip of that.
I got a swarm text while I was sleeping too. Doggone. I missed everything.
Yeah.
So now I got to go tomorrow and pick those up. It's a nice little swarm in the tree.
Oh yeah.
It's like a grapevine at the church. The church that I was telling everybody the bees went in the cinder block post. And so he said, "Did you get my picture of the bees at the church? Come tomorrow. It's supposed to rain, but I don't care. I'll get a swarm in the rain because they won't want to fly with the rain." So
Yeah, they'll be
Years
drowned in
back, I
rats.
picked one up when it's snowing out.
getting them in when it's snowing,
Yeah.
they'll be all chilled
Yeah,
in.
they weren't very happy bees either.
So, Tom, is your flow starting up there?
Oh, big time. I checked one of my hives Thursday, and I rechecked them today because they have a couple cells that I thought they might be starting, and they had 3 wet frames already, just in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pouring it in. I put out 2 frames that I pulled from another hive that was going to go laying worker, and they weren't even touching it. And they're wet frames right in front of them, and they weren't even touching it.
Well, that tells you the flow is definitely on and
Yeah.
everything. And so you got your honey supers all on and that kind of stuff.
I got a deep. Some of them got 2 supers on them plus a deep. They're packing it in.
You probably won't have any problems with swarming since the flow is on like that. It's what everybody tells me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All the ones that don't have bees in the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, they won't swarm this time of year until they swarm.
Let them pack out that brood hive. Start vacuuming, they'll swarm.
Well, pull the brood out of it like I do, and you'll find it.
Well, hey, the flow is on, but they're still in the bush.
Yeah. I went to the same house last night, and I went to it today. 2 different swarms from the same tree.
Should have just left you a swarm trap behind. Well, you'll probably see more.
In the neighborhood, it wouldn't be there the next day.
I think it's gonna. James done a bunch of "I told you so's" on the phone. We were laughing. I said, "You were right. You were right. Yep, you were right." So I use James as my sounding board, my whipping post a little bit when I'm complaining, right? Because I'm like everybody else. When things aren't going good, I'm out there complaining. Well, I don't know how to get these darn bees to grow. That was the beginning. Well, let's just graft some queens and replace the queens and they'll grow. And then my first 2 rounds didn't go well, right? So that was 2 weeks later than I wanted them to be. So right now, I'm just starting to see that brood flip over and start to expand. And so I was like, well, man, I don't think this is going to be good. I'm going to be late for the flow, and don't worry, it's perfect timing. You're spot on. It's great. Couldn't be better, right? I don't know, James, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden today I'm out there saying, James, I think this is going to work out. It's right on time. They're perfect. The flow's just starting, and I'm adding boxes to them. And he says, this is where I insert I told you so. And then we talk about, this is where I insert I told you so. So it's going pretty good. I can't complain. I did the math that just the 15 supers that I added today, if they just fill that 115, that one super, I've pretty much matched my honey from last year, not including the drawn comb that I already had.
Right.
That's being filled right now. So,
so now you're putting supers on with 10 frames as just foundation.
Yep.
And draw some more comb out this year.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do a lot of kung fu in my boxes around, but my plan was to let the drawn comb get filled, pull that off, put empty supers on my real strong colonies, and then put the drawn comb back on my weak colonies because they don't have as many bees. My thought process was they didn't have as many bees, so it wouldn't take them as long to fill up a drawn super as compared to the undrawn, but it's about a week off for that. So I'm going to let them go ahead and start, well, at least a week off. So, guys.
So Brad, how's your sound? Is it good?
I can try.
All right, you're sounding good right now.
Like can't get a
All right,
word.
I got a question for you, and if James was on here, I've noticed this. Huh? What's that?
Maybe if I just don't move.
Yeah, there you go. That might work better.
I'll stop the camera. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, that might be. It sounds good now. Something I've noticed listening to you and James and also Ian is that I don't know, when you're like, when I'm in a hive, I'm like, okay, I got brood, I got this, I got that. All right, go on. Let's go to the next. But where I find that, you guys look at it and you're thinking, there's Doug from Manitoba. Hey, Doug. You guys are looking at it in a time sequence. It sounds like we're okay. We got this, and I know that, stuff's going to hatch a certain time, 21 days and that kind of thing. But you're always on a time sequence. It sounds like to me that you're going to do such and such in so many days because this is going to happen, or you've got everything plotted out on a time schedule type of thing. Can you expand on that? I mean, I know it's, or maybe we should be thinking that way or something.
And that's what I've been looking at with you guys down south is I'm trying to figure out, like, what would it be like to keep bees where you are, because everybody is amazed with, wow, you guys keep bees and it's so cold there and it's season short and it's so amazing. I think it is, but I don't think it's any more difficult for the most part than what you guys do, because you guys have lots of struggles that we don't have, and I think that's one of them. That because of our well-defined seasons, our summers are incredible. They're beautiful, beautiful summers. Our winters are unbelievably harsh. So we have such four very distinct seasons. So I think what that does is it does put things in more of a predictable context within reason. You still can't beekeep You still can't keep bees by the calendar, but I think you can keep bees by the calendar a little bit more than in some areas. It was difficult because your year is made or broken in April, depending on what happens, because these bees come out of winter. They need to build up in April. If they don't build up by the 1st of May or so, they're dead. And that's the problem, because it's just been too long. Stasis too long. They've been have cold weather and cold conditions and can't brood up. And that's kind of what happened to us. We got a little bit of warm weather early April, and then a couple of weeks or more of cold weather, and we could just see that in the brood nests, that the queens pulled back, the workers started cannibalizing the brood, and you can just see that. And I can't, my video's not on, so I can't, my hand gestures aren't working. You could see that ring of sealed brood around an empty hole. There's nothing in the middle because she hasn't laid in a week or 10 days. These are a little bit smaller. My large, I can see that they've had a lot more laying in the last 7 days or so. I'm even seeing some colonies that were moderately sized, or maybe a little. They had a nice brood nest going. Well, now I've got crescents of chilled brood, sealed brood in there. So all of that work has gone down the toilet. So that's yeah.
I mean, there goes your
lot.
field force, you might say,
swarm
right
season,
there. You there?
Yeah, they just we're getting a little bit of buildup now. They're starting, but then again, you lay an egg today, it's going to be 3 weeks before that turns into a bee. So, boy, oh boy, that's a problem, right?
Yeah, I guess what it is
We need
like
the
you
April
say,
turnaround with.
Yeah, Brad, this year, our month of February was warmer than our month of April. Really screwed the bees up and the beekeepers.
And then it, like you say, it gets cold like that, and then it sets them back. And then, like in their situation with Brad and all them, they had
More
that.
severe.
It's more, well, it's a very defined, like he said, it's very defined. And certain things have to happen at a certain time in order to make it successful for them.
Right.
Doug, is that what you find too? And you're in Manitoba also.
No, we were fortunate. We didn't have our hives unwrapped yet. So we've just unwrapped them in the last couple of weeks. So the brood survived through that cold stuff.
Oh.
Just lucked out on the timing.
That's the difference between indoor and outdoor wintering. Every spring I think, man, I should have my bees wrapped for outdoors. Every fall I think, man, that's too much work. I'm just going to put them. So just it's self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm working on that. Got some things up my sleeve.
Yeah.
I've been looking at this new feeder. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. There's only about 3 stores that carry it. Date Ant, Peerco, and Man Lake. But Man Lake, they do their voodoo magic on everything, I think. So I can show it to you. It's a 1-gallon feeder. It fits in it fits into the 70 millimeter hole that goes in the top, right? So let me see if Charlie will add it and this is what it is. It's a 1 gallon feeder. It's black plastic, so the sunlight doesn't shine through it, right? And it's not going to grow stuff in it, supposedly. It's an alternative to the bucket. Now,
Is that an inverted feeder, Bob? Like a jar? Okay.
so yeah, you see the top right there? You just flip it upside down. And
The only problem I
At
see with
first
that
glance,
is,
I tell you that's a bad idea.
why is that? Looks like that on top of the colony.
An example is you watch Bob Binney's videos. He's black buckets that he feeds with, and they're currently painting them all white. He has leakage problems because the sun hits them and it builds pressure inside and pushes the syrup out. And I can
Oh,
attest
really?
that's exactly what happens.
I think they have them in white as well, that you can get them
Black
either
is
way.
the worst color for that. You could set a super over that, keep the sun off it, but once the sun hits, it's that black bucket.
That would be
Game
my
over.
concern too, Brad.
I'd be worried about the wind blowing it off there.
Well,
yeah, because it's so sticking up so high.
Yeah.
but if your hole is tight and the lid's tight to it, won't it help pinch it into the hole? Until it wobbles it open for a little while, right? So you moved it in and out a few times. The thing is,
yeah,
with this thing-
there's so many way better feed containers than that, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
well, I have some top hive feeders. I've got
a
some
lot of
frame feeders.
problems with that.
I'm to the point now I don't even feed my bees anymore. Maybe just in the fall time for winter stores, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, fall time. But with this right here, you see it comes with a lid. Man Lake doesn't sell the lid with it. They sell this, even though they bought them together. They sell this, and then they add $1 on to buy the lid for them.
Yeah. I don't buy from Man Lake. I don't like them.
So that was just one of the places they had.
My vote's a hard no on that. Keep
Really?
looking.
It just seemed like compared to the bucket, everybody was saying the bucket shipping is high to get the buckets and the lids and drill them out. And then you got them on top. You have to put a brick on top of them. So when they get empty, they don't blow
What
away.
capacity are you looking
That
for?
1 gallon. That's 1 gallon. Yeah.
Gallon or what?
Yeah. 1 gallon. So those are about, on Man Lake, they're 11
Yeah, too bad I
bucks.
could get some of these little 1 gallon ones that I use to you. They're pretty good. They're just like everything else, though. They'll leak too.
Yeah, I've got a couple 2 gallon buckets I bought from Bob Binney down at Hive Life, and they leak like crazy. And I was having a problem with those when I was feeding in the spring, if you want to call it that here. And at night it would be cold, and then in the daytime it would warm up, and they would just flex and drip down right. My hole is in the center of my lid. Drip down on the brood, so I ended up moving the brood off of the center, and so who knows? I might. So I went to just using mason jars, just flipping mason jars over in the hole because the glass don't flex, and that seemed to work a little bit better. But then you got the sunlight going through the mason jar.
Well, you got to put
Been
a
using a
box
lot
over
of
top of it.
mason jars. Exactly, mason jar.
People.
Charlie,
Huh?
I've got to warn you. The temperatures we've been getting up here, we're going to see Brad in shorts again.
Really? I never could
You get up at 6 a.m. tomorrow and watch my video. You'll see me in shorts.
Don't you get stung on the legs, Brad?
Well, Charlie and I did my 3-way split. I did shorts and t-shirt. Still what I'm wearing right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Not me. I mean, I got a bee jacket on and gloves on, and and maybe I don't know. And then I was out there yesterday evening trying to go through the hives to kind of get a head start, and they're stinging me. Of course, I'm kind of doing. They got me. Some of them got me in my between my and through my what do you call them, jeans, and that kind of stuff. But I mean, it didn't.
Mine's like playing hive lotto. There'll be 9 of them that are perfectly fine. You get to that 10th one and they want to zap you, and not bad. I mean, and it's hard remembering which one is which. You go out there and you pop that inner cover and they just start flying.
I got one out there right now that's, like they want to get on the veil, COT or whatever. But anyway, I don't know whether they're queenless. I can't remember that's the one or not. Usually that when I have that happening to me, we got an issue with queens or something. So Doug, you got them unwrapped here a couple of weeks ago, and what are you doing in your hives at that point in time? Just getting them built up like Brad?
Yeah, we've just been feeding so far. There's some of the doubles are going to have to be split before long. They're pretty strong, a bunch of them.
Right. So then what will you do? Make nukes or just pull off that top box and set it on another pallet?
We'll probably just pull the box off and split it.
All right. As a whole complete hive.
Yeah. Our crane come in the other day too, so we've got it unloaded and ready to install it.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Looking
so you
forward
got to mount it on the truck and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, not too hard to just 4 bolts to put it to the frame, and that's it.
Oh really?
So it shouldn't be too bad.
And it's got outriggers and all that too.
No, it doesn't need outriggers on the truck. Truck's heavy enough that it'll handle it.
Really?
What crane
That's
did
kind
you
of
buy,
like
Doug?
Ian's.
One of those I don't even know how you say it. Apigumenda, Jucinda from Italy.
There's my split right there.
Easy for
Shorts
you
and
to say.
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to give a shout out to Santa Claus. One of our viewers is a beekeeper and a professional Santa. So he sent me a photo. So he's from Tennessee, but they take him down to Texas every year to this huge mall, and he's their professional Santa. And that is him on the cover of the magazine down there. So he made a statement that surprised me, makes me want to go into the Santa Claus business. He said that he makes in 43 days more than he made working at the Whirlpool plant in a year and a half. He said in a year and a half, in 43 days, he makes more being Santa. And I'm like, sign me up. I'm ready to go. I just need to grow my beard back and bleach it and get the hive going. But he's a beekeeper in Tennessee. So thank you, Rex.
So Todd, what's happening in California besides, the no bloom or
no oranges? It's raining again. It's been a weird year. Hey, I sent Bob a message last night. Something popped up on my feed or Facebook feed that I didn't know. It's a new product for Varroa. Well, it's not a new product. It's a different presentation of Amatraz. It's called Amaflex, and you use some sort of caulking type gun that they have in this starter.
Yeah, I've seen the advertisements on it and everything.
Yeah, apparently it was released a couple of weeks ago, but I'm just now seeing it. So I'm wondering why in the world they, went out with such a quiet word on it.
Well, it's designed for the commercial beekeeper.
Yeah.
And that tube is one tube, but the way I read it, will do 100 hives.
It'll do 100 doubles and 200 singles. But
Yeah.
the nice thing about it is it's only 7 days. So, I mean, you could do Amatraz any way you want.
We had one of our beekeepers who's a backyard beekeeper, and he was all excited about it. I'm like, what investigation that I made through here in the state of Maryland is the fact that it'll be like farmers wanting to spray. They have to go through a spraying class to get their certificate in order to be able to buy that product. And it's the same thing with that product. From what I read is that you're going to have to be certified. I'll say an applicator's license.
I think it's a PCA that you have to have, because they do that for just the regular people who want to buy tubs of Apiguard.
What's it called?
Well, if I wanted to go down to the Dayton store here in town, I have to have a PCA, pest control. I forgot what the A stands for, but it's basically where you go through a class and you get certified to be a pest control. Like Bob,
this guy
he
is
knows what I'm talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
PCA
like our license registration.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to do any of that for like Apiguard or anything like that.
So what you're saying is I can buy it.
I'm afraid to say it online. I get Apiguard, but I really don't want to. I don't want to. I get the Apiguard tubs. Let's just say that, and I'll leave it.
Yeah,
there.
that's what I got.
But if I go down to Dayton, I can't get an Apiguard tub because I don't have a PCA. It's strange, but
new website item.
Pest control advisors.
Pest control advisors. Okay. By the way, Charlie, or anybody, if they can help me on the comments, I'd love to first of all, Blaine, I don't have the ring yet, but I will be getting one. But how do you respond in the comments? Because there's no box here to type something in unless it's a private chat.
You don't have the one that says comments on the side, but you can't chat. That just lets you see them, right?
That's correct.
So I have a separate screen that has it open that I can chat over there on YouTube, but I have the tab muted.
Okay. I'm not gonna. Last time I did that, everything went funky on my computer, and I'm not going to do that again. But other than that, my hives look great. Just don't have any oranges to really filter through. There's some. Like I said, we'll see. I'll know in another 2 weeks what I have, but I won't have a lot. That's for sure. And then after that, I go into a dearth. Well, no, I take that back. Then the Chinese tallow starts up, and they should be coming up in a couple of weeks, depending on what the weather has done to them this year, like what Mother Nature did to the oranges. And then after that, there's the trees that Bob has, the Japanese privet. There's a bunch of them in the area where my bees are at, so they usually hit that. And then after that, it's a dearth until July, middle of July, late July, and then it starts up again with wildflowers here and there. But I might have a whole bunch of wildflowers this year because we got so much rain.
Yeah, you will.
I hope so. I don't want to buy 67 cent a pound sugar at Walmart anymore because that's not fun.
Well, I was wondering, and I had a kind of weird philosophy. So here, and it's probably the same of anybody down south, maybe not Mark, but everybody else. we get that spring burst of nectar, and then when it starts getting hot, everything turns brown and wilts out and burns. But because we're having mild temperatures for the last month, I'm wondering if that's gonna kind of kick the can down the road flow wise, because last night when I got up, it was like 46 degrees, or, you know, this morning when I went to work. And normally it's in the 60s, 70s, you know, and it's just been mild. So I'm starting to see a lot of dandelions and the little, what was it? I said it was the other day, the little yellow flowers, not goldenrod, but it looks a lot like goldenrod down the road too.
Talking about
Is it yellow clover?
yellow clover.
Well, my app said it was something. Let me see here.
And hail highs. I'm in Central California, Fresno.
Go for my
Yeah, in my area, the flow starts right around April, and it goes hard all the way through to about the 4th of July. But it doesn't quit. We always got clover then in the summertime, but it's not enough for them to store honey just to maintain them. So then the fall comes and we get the goldenrod and esters.
We got the Texas ragwort. That's what it is everywhere right now.
And I see Hail Hives is talking about tallow. Tallow hasn't budded here yet. They just started leaving. But the buds, the tassels haven't, they're a little ways away still. But when they hit, man, they hit. So I'm hoping that's the case this year.
Yeah, we got our black locust trees, and they should be blooming soon, and our sycamore trees. Surprisingly, the sycamore tree makes a good honey.
Well, they're blooming here this week.
Yeah, they might be now. I mean, right around the corner.
That's my main flow here, the locusts and the poplar trees. So locusts started about 2-3 days ago.
Okay.
And since it's gotten warmer, they have really popped out now.
Yeah, so I got to shoot. Just my neighbor's got a whole 3 or 4 acres of them. So I have to check. I've been so busy catching storms.
How's the audio now, Charlie?
Your audio's good now, Brad.
Good.
Working better?
Yeah,
all right.
clear.
I think my computer was just busy. I was trying to save that vlog so Doug can see me in shorts tomorrow morning.
Nothing wrong with the video, though. You're still showing up.
Hey, video's still good.
How's that? Does that suit you better?
Let's go on back on there, Brad.
There you go. Brad, are you all done cutting wood?
Oh man, it never ends. I'm really late this year. I'm mostly done cutting, but I'll be assembling for quite a few weeks still.
I truly enjoy watching you in the wood shop just as much as the bee are too. I get it. I could sit and watch it all day.
Is that right? It's hard for me to make videos about wood shop because there's nothing new. You know, it's just repetitive over and over and over again, and man, and I think people want to see wood shop, but I think there's nothing new. There's nothing interesting.
I had a nightmare today. I had an easy swarm, so I just cut the branch, sat it on the nuke. Bees were going down. All of a sudden, a light bulb went off, and they all took off like within 5 seconds.
That's just
gone. They went over the house, neighbor's house, and I tracked it through the backyard. They kept on going. And I was making a nice video of it and everything. It's like, oh, well. I'll get a call tomorrow, a couple blocks down.
So, not to derail anything, but my big thing for today, I went out and got 12 queens. I decided to cut it on this side. I decided to knock down some of these. I got a lot of colonies that just aren't getting it, so I decided to knock some of them down and put some mated queens in there. And who just disappeared? Mark just disappeared. And so I came back And I thought, it's not that late. It was about 5 o'clock though, and I thought I'm going to do a little bit of this, and I really only made one because I was kind of dejected and spent a lot of time cleaning up the mess because a bear got in my yard last night,
Really?
and it was, mostly just kind of unnerving and just pissed me off. he
Now that's the
didn't
yard
really
right behind
destroy
you,
too
right?
much.
Right, Mark or Brad? That's
What's
the
that?
yard, it's your holding yard is where he got in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's these gray poly nukes. There's some over just off the picture right here, and
Mhm.
he tied into two of those, dumped them over, and one of them wasn't too bad. It was mostly just upside down, and it didn't rain last night or anything or today. So if the queen survived in that one, it'll be okay. It was actually a pretty good little colony too. The other one, I don't think it's going to make it. I picked it up. The frames were everywhere. You could see where he was eating the bread off the frames, and a lot of them were just mashed. And one of them I can't find. He took one of them, so he must have found his favorite and took that home with him.
Maybe he's going to
So
start keeping bees.
He's going to start. He just needed a starter kit.
He needed a
By
hive.
By the way he treated that hive, I don't think he's going to be much of a beekeeper. He's pretty messy. He left everything on and kind of one of the worst things was, I've been enjoying these jars and with the poly hives, I got to put a brick on the lid, and he knocked the thing over and he knocked the brick off. Well, there was two other hives that he had knocked the lid off, and then two more that he had dumped over. And I'm only saying he in the general sense, because it could be a mama bear too. But one of the jars fell off, the brick fell off, and the jar fell off, and it smashed on the ground. So now I got broken glass everywhere, and just
Yeah.
one of those things. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Paul from Hail Highs wanted to. You got your plans up on what's it called? Sketch.
Yeah, I absolutely do. They're free to take if you want.
SketchUp.
Maybe I should start
SketchUp.
charging, but yeah, right now I've got them all up there for free on SketchUp. Can I send you a link in private chat, Charlie?
Yeah, I don't know how
I'll try. It'll take me a minute to find it.
This is about the time of year we see a bear showing up every now and then too, Brad.
Yeah, there's been a few sighted around here. You know what? I found it right there. Let's see.
That's one thing I don't have to worry about bears yet. I'm not too
little
far
bit of
away, both sides of me.
All right, so
Link.
all I have to do is copy that and put it in the thing so they can copy it, right, Brad?
Yeah, you just
don't know.
copy it and then put it in the regular comments and paste it. Send it.
Yeah, Russ, the fence was up and on and working and everything. I don't know how that all happened.
It's the whole risk to reward scenario. The bear's like, well, I know I'm gonna get zapped, but that food sure is good. So
All right, here it goes. There it is.
There you go. So that's the palette. But you can go I think if you click on the top right, you click on that Beam Out of Faith apiaries, you can see all of my models that I have up there. So feel free. Go for it. I got all the stuff. I got all the orders I can handle, so there's no sense in patenting anything.
But yeah, it's a very good design. Every time I look at Nathan from Duck River Honey, I'm like, why ain't you went to pallet yet? He wants. But
I'll tell you what, I've got some of those nukes on the ground, or just 2 inches off the ground on those 2x2s, and every time I go to my big colonies that are raised up and I start putting supers on them, well, next thing you know, you're over your head with supers. And then I go to my nukes, and you go out to 7-8 nukes, and you're bending over like that to open the nukes up, and then I remember why I've got hive stands, because after that it's like grabbing my back from bending over. So
Well, that the main thing on my hives, like the ones behind me there, is that I used to have not here, but I had cement blocks, and they were 12 inches or so tall, higher. And then when I put this apiary in, I did the racks there are 5.5 inches tall, and then I just got some I call them cat blocks. They fit on top of a cement wall. They're 3.5 inches thick, I think. Anyway, I put them down on the ground and leveled it up, and that way it dropped that hive stack at least 8 inches lower, lowest that I can get it.
Yeah, I like to run mine about 8 inches high, just because of the raccoons and possums, especially the possums.
Yeah, these are like about 6 inches off the ground, something
Just
like
enough that they have to put their front paws up on the landing board so they can go and sting them underneath them.
I don't have any issues with possums or
I do.
coons or anything like that for now.
People don't realize the west side of Cincinnati is part of the Appalachian Hills, foothills, and it's all woods.
We have
I was going to ask Brad about OTS, and it reminded me of something. I bought that book a couple years ago, and I followed it. I've never really been successful with it, but last year something funny happened, and I put my notches down, and sure enough, they didn't do anything with the notches. But boy, I had 2 frames that I think I had a total of 27 queen cells on them, and I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do about this? Well, I remembered seeing something about making those little wire cages with 1/8 inch hardware cloth. And I don't know if you could see this. I grabbed one out in the garage. I got to change this background. But what it is,
There you go. That's good. That looks good.
and it's open on this side. Let me get out of my face. I have a 2x4. I can't find the 2x4. I think it's in the shop at the farm. But you drill a hole. I think it is. I think it's a 1-inch hole, and you take a little piece of 1/8 inch hardware cloth that you cut out, about a 3x3, and then you put a small copper, or you put a copper tubing just smaller than the hole, or something hard like you can even use a rake handle if it's small enough, and you pound it through this hole or through the screen, and it forms these. And so what I did was I stuck these on all these queen cells as much as I could. I had some doubles that, 2 queen cells right next to each other. I just stuck them in there and said, good luck. But gosh, I think I got about 17 or 18 queens out of that hive. And
Nice.
It was because the OTS failed. So I was going to ask Brad, like, what kind of success you've had. I've seen some videos, but
overall, I've had good success over the years I've used it. Last year, for some reason, nothing went right for me last year. Last year was so messed up. The season was wrong. The honey flow was weak. My queen rearing, I could not do anything right. It was awful. OTS mostly failed. But otherwise, it's worked really good. And I don't think there's too much magic in that notch, to be honest. I think it helps, and I think it allows you a little bit of control. But I think that most of the magic is in the builder, as anybody who's raising queens will likely attest.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly about pick the season. Mel always talks about 2 weeks, a week before swarm season. Good and strong colonies, lots of don't try to. Some people they try to think outside the box, literally, and say, well, let's make a split and then notch and make them raise queens. It doesn't work that way, because now you got a little tiny unit trying to raise cells. That's not the system. And so I think it has a lot more to do with those factors than it has to do with that magical notch. Because I've done it a lot, where I'll go in, I'll make all my magical notches and put it together, and they just fix the comb. They say, "What the world are you doing?"
That's what happened.
All right, everyone, I'm going to bail out. Everybody have a good weekend.
Hey, Tom.
Hey,
See
Tom.
you, Tom.
Yes.
Todd, I did that same thing year before last with the same exact way. Hole, make the cages, and and I took that one frame, and I think I was able to use that one frame with the queen cells caged like that on about, I want to say I made about 10 splits using that one frame. Just dropping it in as they were hatching out. I was uncaging, let the queen out, put it back on, move it to another hive, queen hatch out, and let a queen out, and just kept moving the same frame and letting queens out, and it worked.
Nice.
You know what I got onto this year was Gus Mitchell's method, where he cuts out the cells, and I thought he was talking about pure wax foundation until I kind of really just listened to someone talk about it, and he's just notching it. He's going around the cell, and then he's taking his hive tool and just really scraping down on the foundation, and I've done it this spring, and it works great. I don't think I'm going to really have a need for these anymore, but I sure like doing that now. I'm into that.
How do you get them if you got a queen cell hanging down here, how are you going to get it up there where it's going to be where you can't get out? What is that all about?
I don't know. So you mean, how do you get that cell off the foundation?
Ed was messing with something when I think it's Ed's. Yeah. I saw Ed messing with something when it started.
Yeah,
it's Ed.
Yeah. He muted and went away. So you can't get it off the foundation?
Well, what I'm getting at is how do you put that cup on the cell and get it locked into where she can't get out when she comes out?
Oh, you mean this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. There's two problems with it. One, you kind of have to mess with it to get the angle right, to push it in all the way to the foundation. And then the other problem that I don't really like is when you put the hive back together, you have to take some frames out, because they might be sticking out too far, and you can't put the frames back the way they were, so you have to take a frame or two out. But like I said, I'm going away from that. I'm going to start scraping them off the foundation. It really works.
Yeah, that's what I've done over the years. Is you can take a penknife or whatever, and you can just kind of scrape around behind down deep, and maybe cut around it to give it a perimeter, where you're cutting, and then I normally will take that, and let's say I got a nuke or whatever that's queenless, just put it in there and just kind of, if you got like little wings on it, you can kind of press it into the comb and it'll stick right there. And then I normally, and of course they'll mold that cell in there as they get it. I just put like take a Sharpie or something and kind of put an X or QC on there, so you don't want to mess with that for a week or two, before she hatches. and all
Yeah,
that.
but I thought maybe there might be somebody who would want to try these because they really do work. Like Bob was saying, you can move that frame around and take one cage off and let that queen walk around.
Now, the only other thing, instead of being round like that, if you made more like a push-in cage, where it has a let's say the edges are pretty deep, and you could make a rectangular form, and then you could stick that in where it kind of like, fence it's pushed into the wax where she can come out, but she can't get out unless they dig her out.
Yeah, and I've had a couple that have been dug out from these things,
they'll
but
do
for the
that.
most part, they really it comes in handy. But like I said, the thing I
like where you just, like you say, just cut them out.
Yeah,
and then if you got 3 cells, cut them out. Or let's say you got 3, you're going to cut 2 of them off, and then take that frame and put it in another hive where it needs a queen, and put them cells in each individual comb in each individual hive, and it's more efficient that way, I think.
For a while
this is
spring,
the discussion is why Mel kind of talks a lot about the notching thing, is just that control, so that you can actually just segregate those cells from one frame to the next. I think that's kind of probably the whole, or the most of the point behind the notching thing, just that control.
Yeah. For a while this spring, I thought, man, I might not have to graft, or the way these bees are making queen cells. I thought I might get lucky enough to make new colonies without doing grafting, but I've got to replace queens this year. I have 2. I have second-year queens out there now, so I need to get them replaced.
Ed, you're still buzzing. I don't know what's going on. There you go.
Do you ever phone by your computer?
Yeah, maybe it.
So, yeah, there you go. You're fine now.
This is
Yeah, I tried to cutting them cells out this year on the 7 that I did, and well, I know I'm not saying it's because I cut them out wrong. It could be because the temperature dropped too low and didn't have enough coverage on the queens, but they didn't make it. Yeah.
This is
Or
one
it
of
could
my
be lack of experience.
grafted queen work. That's one of my new grafted queens patterns she laid up.
Yeah.
Nice
layer.
carpet.
So next couple weeks, those colonies are gonna explode. Yeah, they're gonna really explode. So
you're gonna have to do another round of grafting and do some splits.
Hopefully they pile all that honey in before I have to do that, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I spoke about.
Oh,
I think he's talking about you're defining when you got chilled brood and stuff like that. I think it was, Brad, when we're talking about, how precise, your seasons are. I think that's what's.
No, on the drone frame you spoke about, with just foundation in the middle and nothing on both sides. So what I call the story frame.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you do with the unhatch, cutout, or just? Yes, I think I know what you mean. Okay, so yes, that frame was actually designed initially to allow for removing drone brood as a mite control measure, and it works great for that. So yes, in that case, then you can just cut those sections off from the sides, and toss it or render it or whatever you want, and then they'll just build that again when you put that back in. I was using the green Pirco drone frames, and that works great too. Randy Oliver actually wrote an article on all this kind of an idea, and he came to the conclusion that it was best to slow the queen down a bit in laying those frames. So if you gave her a whole deep frame of drone cells on both sides, she'd lay that thing up in a day, not in a day, we know that, but she'd do it right away. And he said that it's best to slow her down a bit, because then because as we know, the mites enter the cell just before they're capped, right? So if she lays that whole frame in 2 days or 4 days, then you're going to get 4 days worth of mites. If you slow it down, then it's going to trap mites for a little bit longer over time. It may trap mites for 7 days, and then you can go and cut that out. That's my recollection of his article, and it was quite a while ago I read it. So you should probably look up his article on his website and read about that. But yeah, that's how you do it if you're doing it for mite control.
And now I see the other advantage of your story frame is the fact that it gives them a place to draw drone comb instead of in your worker comb frames, and don't mess up those frames.
Yeah. I mean, drones are actually, you know what? I just saw another presentation, and they talked about drones, and it was a very interesting concept that they talked about, and the gist of it was that the drones, and I'm not talking drone brood, pupa, larva, and whatnot. I'm talking about the walking drones. Actually, are a buffering protection from mites for the colony, because they kind of attract the mites. You can think about it as that. And they said that once the drones are gone in the fall, the mite levels in the worker bees skyrockets. And they said that that's one of the reasons you might do your washes. You'll do your wash in the summer while there's drones in your hive, and you kind of think, well, it's not too bad, mite levels. And then couple of weeks and all your drones are gone, and now your mites are 3 times as high. Well, that's because the mites were on the drones.
That was that article just, I'll say, relatively came out. That's Zach Lamas. He actually he is real, actually works real close to where I live, within about an hour or less.
Right on. I found that fascinating.
At the Bee Lab, and I think we've actually had him come to our club and talk. Of course, now this is something brand new that he's come up with, as far as discoveries and stuff like that.
So, kind of the reason I kind of got onto that was, having drones in your hive is beneficial. I mean, for the obvious reasons. You listen to the Keith Delaplane talk about polyandry and diversity, and you'll want all the drones in the world around if you're raising queens, for sure. And I think drones do provide a lot of benefit for the colony that way. So, having said that, if every time you open your hive, you're destroying most of the drone comb and basically turfing the larva and the pupa, then you're cutting down their ability to produce drones by a dramatic
coping with the mites and everything.
Yeah,
and
so
that's
if you
give
it's them that comb, then
and
you
here
know
we
where
are
the drones
again.
are.
Learning more. Science community is helping us to. Hey, the drones have gotten a bad rap, and now we're finding out that Mother Nature is kind of playing things for us that we didn't figure out yet.
Right away you say, oh, the drones, the mites reproduce faster in the drone brood, and it's true. But you say that, and suddenly everybody is, oh, get rid of all the drones, drones bad, right? And that's the problem with human race, is we think black and white too much, and you say, well, maybe drones ain't so bad. Maybe you have to find a different way.
Yeah, I want to say a big hi to Tim there from the Boone County Beekeeper, watching some of his videos. But yeah, that's some of the newest information that's just started to come out. And
I actually saw something, speaking of mites, when I was at the bee supply store today. And I didn't buy it. I was going to buy it just so Brad could say, look, Bob's got another gadget. But they had a CO2 mite check cup in there. So you put 200 bees in it, and it's got a CO2 sprayer or nozzle. And you got to put the little, I guess, the Crossman CO2 cartridge on it.
Yep.
And you just shoot it in there for 4 to 6 seconds, which to me, you might as well just said spray it for 5 seconds because that's between, but whatever. And I guess you give them a shake when they're asleep.
If you say 5 seconds and you get it wrong, it's either going to be 4 or 6, right?
Yeah. And then it supposedly dispenses the mites on the bottom of the cup.
Somebody was just asking me about that the other day, and the conversation went something like this, that they had never seen it before. And I said, well, you know, I've seen that out on the market for probably 6 or 7 or 8 years. And I said, you know what, if it works the way we imagine it should work, because I hate killing bees to test for mites. I'd own that already. And I don't know if it does work. However, I don't see anybody using them. I don't see it out there in use. So does that speak to it? It's been out on the market a long time. I don't see anybody using it.
I had never seen it at the bee store before. And I'd be honest with you, I've not really heard of anybody talking about treating mites with CO2, right? Until we were talking with James and being the outlaw and doing what he did. And, you know, so that was when I saw it. I didn't even ask him the price on it. You'd be proud of me, Brett. I didn't say, oh, I got to have this. It's shiny and new.
And watch your terminology, Bob, because it's not a treatment. It's a test.
It's a test, right.
It's replaced as a mite wash.
But yet it's a new thing to me. I'll say that. You just said they've been out for several years. But it's the first time
I would encourage you to buy it and see if it works, because I'm dying to know if it works, because I would love to use it if it works.
See, you're going to make me go back to the bee store.
Yep. And I'm going to make you waste your money on it if it doesn't work.
Yeah, there's where I saw it. Randy using it. It works good enough, but not as good as alcohol or soap.
Okay, thank you.
But
do you remember the cost?
No, I didn't ask him. I didn't even ask him.
Probably about $100, probably.
I don't think it's cheap. It's a pretty simplistic device, so I think it's maybe a little under 100, but I think it's most of that.
And they only had one in the store, so that tells me something as well, right? Either everybody bought them out, or they only ordered one to have it on the shelf in case, you know, kind of like my big bag of Apis. I've got one because it costs a lot to keep it on the shelf to sit here. So
good point. Like, obviously, they're not flying off the shelf, so they don't stock 100 of them in there. You know,
right?
So that's the kind of things I wonder about. Like,
you know, unlike my other Apis over there, that I've got 100 at least sitting over there.
So you're a good dealer. That's good.
Well, I'm a good shelfer. Bob's bunch of bee stuff.
Bob's bunch of bee stuff. That's hilarious.
It'd probably go viral too. That'd be the thing. That'd be the videos that took off. Just shorts about, hey, I found this new gadget at the bee store today. You know, do a test with it, and then
now it's time for Bob's Gadgets.
Yeah,
Bob's bee stuff.
Had the little thing sliding in from the side and everything.
Yeah,
you should have the golfer voice though when you're doing it. Have someone in the background with a microphone.
That could just be me overdubbing like.
Now he's got the CO2 thing.
There you go.
He's entering the bees. Closing the lid.
He has a 359 yard.
Now he's got a choice to make. He can either turn the CO2 on.
Sorry, I couldn't keep that up.
Yeah, but so, you know, I was just surprised because, you know, everybody's seen all the other shakers, and it's what. So this is kind of a point that I really hate talking about mites, because it seems like that's all we do anymore is talk about mites on all the channels. But since it's Charlie's channel, we'll talk mites.
I'll I gotta go get some popcorn.
So you know they say that one
Charlie's
works
break
better
time.
than the other, but that's really subjective, right? I mean, how many bees did you get in that scoop? How many? You know, is it working better? Was there just less bees in that, or less bees, less mites in that particular one sample size that you took? You know, so you really don't know. Even when you're doing a shake, you really don't know what the actual count is. I mean, it's more of, do I have mites? Are there a lot of mites compared to?
No, you don't, and I think that's a really good point, Bob. That no, you don't, and some people will say, oh, you go. Well, some people, including me, will say, well, if you shouldn't use a sugar shake to do because an alcohol wash is better. No, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're using this method or that method, you know, if Randy says, well, it works good enough, but it's not as good as an alcohol wash, well, adjust the numbers.
Right.
You know, if you alcohol wash a sample and you're getting 3%, if you do a CO2 test, I was going to say treatment, but I gave Bob heck. Maybe you get 1.5, maybe you get 2%, but then you've got to adjust your expectations and say, well, if I'm testing with a sugar shake, then my threshold is 1. If I'm testing with an alcohol wash, then my threshold maybe is 3. So, you know, your impression of the results needs to be reflected, needs to reflect the methodology, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that there's a, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong, but I don't think we all have that baseline of what people say is acceptable and unacceptable. However, like you said, there's not really, well, if you use this is the acceptable count. And if you use this is the acceptable count. So when I see people doing side-by-side comparisons, they're really apples and oranges. Because, well, if you're going to use the soap method, then you need to use the soap method on everything. So you can compare all of your colonies on an equal plane. I mean, it's kind of like what you say. You treat one colony 100 times, right? Instead of 100 colonies all different ways, right? So that's the same thing with the Mite shake. If you're going to go one route, if you're using soap, use soap. If you're using alcohol, use alcohol. And if you're using CO2, use CO2. And that way you can tell, compared to my other colonies in relative sample size, whether or not something's high or low or you know, off the spectrum type of deal. Because my thing is, if you see a mite, you're going to treat it anyway, right? So it's not like it's just more of a knowledge thing. So you know, well, it's better than it was before.
I think the alcohol wash is kind of, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what the lab would do. However, I think they shake the thing for 6 minutes or something, and nobody's doing that in the bee yard.
Right.
So you're always going to come up with, you know, something that approximates. And Russ is asking, is there anything that does give you accurate mite counts? Well, they all give you accurate mite counts, but they're not the same. I'm trying to think of an analogy, and I can't. They're different test methods. So therefore, if one test method gives you a 2% count and another one gives you a 4% count, you have to take into account what the test method is to know what that means. If I do an alcohol wash and gives me, you know, 2%, I might think that's kind of high. If I did a sugar shake, and I get a 3%, I might think that that's maybe not that high because it doesn't wash the mites off as easily. But again, who's going to tell you that? You have to know that by your own experience, I think, or at least your mentor or somebody you trust.
We do very little testing. If you've got mites in 2 or 3 hives, you're going to have mites in 30 or 40 of them. So we just treat right through.
Yeah, I completely agree that. As Dr. Curry told me that early on in my career. He said, you sample a couple of your colonies, That's what your colonies are going to be. And I think unless you're trying to do, like, for example, I'm demoing 3 mite treatments in my apiary this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing a lot more alcohol wash to show me what the differences are. I'm not doing alcohol washes to see if I have mites, because I know I have mites, period.
Yeah.
I maybe want to do a wash or two to say, yeah, I got mites, so let's treat, because that's protocol. That's what you should do.
But you're doing the same wash method, but different treatment methods. And that way you can reasonably say that there's a consistent baseline that, hey, this one's got 3 mites and this one's got 1 mite. So this one's probably a little bit better off than that one is, And just as we speak him into existence, here he comes, Mr. I told you so himself, James McNabb.
How are you doing, guys? So I'm going to show you something. The sun sets here in about 22 minutes. And this is what we're fighting up here.
Yeah, can you see it for smoke?
Yeah.
Looks like fog.
It is. So
Yellow.
the city of Grand Prairie, a bunch of the surrounding communities have already been evacuated. The city of Grand Prairie is on an alert. Evacuating a city of 75 to 80,000 people here. It's an interesting night.
James, how'd that fire start? Thunderstorm?
Well, there's 82 fires currently burning in the province of Alberta. And most of those, I'm not going to guess as to how they start, but most of them started along a highway.
Oh.
So,
gotcha.
Are they grass fires?
They
James?
started as grass fires, and they've with 82 fires burning. So we've had the community of Fox Lake this morning. I think they said they lost over 20 houses, the RCMP station, things like that up there. A little community just to the east of us here, Sturgeon Lake, they've been evacuated. Last I heard that little town was on fire as well. You couldn't get a hotel room, and you can't get a gallon of gas in Grand Prairie right now. So everybody has got their vehicles filled right up. Everybody has pretty much grabbed some important paperwork, passports, documentation, things like this. And we're sitting and waiting. So going to be a restless night, I think.
So how close are the fires to you, James?
15 minutes south of town. And I live in South Patterson, so I am on the south side of town. So, 15 minutes from my house.
How about, you're at your apiary right now, and isn't that your apiary in your background right there?
Correct. Yeah, I'm out here at the apiary. So, not a lot I could do in town, not a lot I could do out here. Just kind of came out and make sure that, what do you do? So,
take your tractor and make a fire break around your apiary?
Well, it's all field. That's all grass. There's no fire break you're going to make that's going to break that.
Is it real windy?
We had like 80-kilometer-hour winds this morning. The wind has died down slightly here tonight, but we have a wind warning first thing in the morning again. So, reminds me of when I used to fly planes into this crap. So what's everybody else working on? I could use.
Sorry to hear that, buddy.
So, remember earlier I was saying I was having such a good year. I was waiting to see what was going to come around the corner and kick me in the canards. Well, maybe this is
Wildfires.
Yeah.
So let me get this right. Between the snow, the floods, and the wildfires, and now bears, you guys have.
Who's got a bear?
Brad
I
had
got a bear.
right.
Oh.
I got a bear.
You need a new rug, Brad?
Yeah, I think I might have one by morning.
So
be bear burgers for breakfast.
There you go.
Holy moly.
So Oh well.
So behind you, is that sunlight or is that the glow of the fire?
No, that's facing to the south. That is probably the fire. So the sun is over there somewhere.
Okay.
So,
Holy.
yeah. So, like I
Well-
said, we'll see what happens. And of course, I'm supposed to fly out of here Sunday morning. I don't know whether I'm going to do that or not. I have a hard time flying away and leaving my family here in something like this.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, you just sold all the nukes. Now it's time to buy them a ticket.
Yeah. So, actually, yeah. A lot of the customers and stuff like that, I've already received phone calls. So, from the people. So, I'm getting the same complaint this year, which is a great one to get. You know what? There's too many bees in this nuke.
Yeah, that sucks, eh?
Yeah, you know.
You got more than you expected for. Congratulations.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, like I said, you know, wow. I had one lady phone me because she's a new beekeeper, and wanted to know when, you know, she's got them all set in place. Wanted to know when she opened them up, but so I says, well, you can, you know, pretty much open them up anytime late this evening or early tomorrow morning. And she said she opened them up late this evening, and the bees that were kind of coming out and over the box, she was wondering how I got all those bees in the box. So that's a good problem to have.
So
what are we talking about tonight besides bear runs?
Burning woods. CO2 treatments.
Yeah, that's what you call poking the bear, Bob.
Well, I have to go to Brad's house to poke the bear.
Oh,
He's poking it.
Well, Todd, he's in California and he had a bunch of rain and knocked off all his blossoms on the orange trees and all kinds of stuff. So his nectar sources are not very good.
Didn't you guys have a whole lot of wildfires down in California last year?
Couple years ago, there was one just east of me up in the Sierras. It ended up being 500,000 acres.
Ooh.
And what they won't tell you is the source, and it was a illegal pot farm, more than likely from growers coming up from south of the border. They were up there in the Sierras, and a generator blew, and there you go.
Sad, eh?
Yeah.
So, well, like I said, it's all speculation, but some of the big fires around here. So there was one. Well, there was actually three between here and Valley View today. They managed to get, I think, two of the three of them out, but the third one kind of got away. And they all started from the side of the road. So, but on a good news, this is probably what it's like to beekeep in Mars.
So I presume it's quite dry where you're at right now, even though it's snowed.
Oh yeah, no, it is tinder dry. So yeah, it is just, I mean, if your smoker tipped over in this grass, you'd have a fire.
Yeah.
Mm. Any sight and rain?
Not for any time in the next 7 days.
Right.
But I mean,
So where did 70,000 people flee to?
Well, I guess it depends. You can't you can't go northeast to Dawson Creek because they got fires up there. There's fires between here and Whitecourt, so I think Highway 43 is for the most part open. You could go north to Peace River, but they wouldn't have the infrastructure to hold this number of people. So, I mean, I counted the vehicles lined up tonight at the Costco up here to get fuel, and I stopped counting after there was 32 vehicles in each row. It pretty much went clear across the parking lot. So I'm pretty sure Grand Prairie's going to be out of fuel in the morning.
Wow.
They showed Drayton Valley last night on the news, and there was quite a parade out of there, and just about everybody had a camper with them. So
yeah, Yeah, exactly. I mean, Drayton Valley, they were evacuated. So that's between, it's a little bit south on our way to Edmonton, but not much. So I have relatives and stuff like that down there as well. So it's not a good place to be here right now in Alberta. So on a good note, I did get my my starter hive all set up here today, and I got all the grafting frames ready. There's a couple in there, so with any luck tomorrow morning, weather permitting, and if I'm still around, I plan on grafting 40 to 60 frame or cells in there. So I was able to fire guard, burn around the house the other day. Yeah, that's wise, very wise.
Where's the sound coming from?
I don't know, but that was really loud.
Yeah. So James, what's Ian doing? Burning up an area around the buildings to guard against?
Yeah. So basically, a lot of times with the tractor and stuff, you'll till a little bit up and then you can burn a fire guard. So it depends how big it is, but you go round and round further and further out from your house. So at least the fire would have to jump a large area that's either already burnt, so there's no fuel, or you till it up with a tractor so that there's no fuel. One of the two. But that's probably a wise thing to do. A little hard for me to do now that I'm in the city. The neighbors probably wouldn't appreciate me, tilling up their yard.
Unless it saves their house, then they'll be thanking you.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, in my dad's day, all the farms used to plow a fire guard around their yard. It kind of got away.
That was pretty much a standard if you go back 25 years, right?
Yep.
So Doug, that means that they burned a path around there. They didn't plow, right?
No, they would plow a fire guard so you could back burn if you needed to.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I presume they have plenty of fire service apparatus that they're fighting this stuff with.
Well, everything, like I said, with 82 fires in the province of Alberta, there's no available water bombers. There's no available helicopters. Everything is going. Everything is just fighting fire somewhere, right? I did send you a video, Charlie. I don't know if you can put that up here, but that was from the airport earlier when I was at the airport picking up some freight. You could kind of see as it was starting to get going there, but I don't know if you can email that to yourself from your phone or how that would work.
Yeah, I got it here. I had a little bit of chance to look at it.
It doesn't look good.
Let's see. Yeah, if I email that, it's a little blurry, but let's see what I can do with that.
It's kind of eerie because it's been like this all day. Like all day long, it's just been a red haze, and it's really been kind of weird.
Is there much ground level smoke, James?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Difficult to breathe.
My nose is all plugged up, and we've got the purifiers and everything all going in the house as best we can.
Gets like that here when there's fires in the area. It just
well,
really
the ash
weighs on me.
The ash
when on Charlie's video was raining down on my truck, to give you an idea. So
yeah.
Now it looked like to me you were. There's like some other cars, and was it out close to where the fire was, where you were coming from, or?
No, that was actually out at the airport. So there's just a big overflow parking is where I was parked at.
Hey, have you guys heard of UBO, that product that might be coming out? Well, I think next spring it's coming out.
Yep.
I ordered some.
Jared Wagner.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, I pre-ordered. You could go on the website and pre-order.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, we had Kara speak at our convention in February. It was very interesting work.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how they can mimic those pheromones of mite infestation. Oh,
She's a very crafty person.
Yeah.
To see that and figure all that out.
Yeah. I'll be very curious to see it. My question though is, I know on the website it shows like a little spray bottle, and I ordered 10 units, but I don't know if that spray bottle is only good for just that one little area that you block off with the PVC pipe. I don't know if there's just enough spray in there to cover just that area, or if that's going to go for 2 or 3, other spots you pick.
I think somebody asked that. I can't remember what she said. I think it was more than one.
I might adjust down a little.
For sure.
But it'd be interesting to see what I have.
So CTV News says that they're blaming it on, it says crews lose control of prescribed burn in Alberta, parts of Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, they do intentional burns to clean out the forest.
I think that was probably down by Drayton Valley, though, right, Bob?
It says Banff fires.
Down in
Banff fires. That's way down south.
That's a long ways from me. Yep.
Then Alberta Wildfire forces thousands to evacuate northern community.
Yep.
There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube about it. Out of control wildfire forces West Central Alberta residents to flee. That was 8 hours ago. 2 hours ago, Alberta brings in out of province wildfire fighters, as situation says. Drayton Valley, Alberta wildfires, entire town of Drayton Valley evacuated, and there's just lines and lines and lines of cars.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Drayton Valley is like 32 or 36,000 people.
When we had those wildfires here up in Northern California a couple years ago, the fire went right through a town called Paradise, and I think it was around 30 or 40,000 people. It leveled the entire town. There's nothing left.
Sounds almost like Fort McMurray here a few years back.
Fort McMurray, yeah. Boy, that was brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can hear the wind picking back up.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah, it's just. I'm probably going to say sayonara tonight, guys. I'm going to book her back into town there, and we'll let you guys know how we make out.
Yep.
All the best, friends. Stay in touch.
I tried to share it, James, but I having trouble with it.
Oh, well, if you can, like I said, then everybody can kind of see what we're up against up here. So as the wind picks up, you can, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it's actually getting really hard to breathe here. So
how far is Fort McMurray from you?
Fort McMurray? Oh, that's 12 hours.
It's a good ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Have a good night, everyone.
The whole province is on fire.
Good night, James.
Wow.
No, that's spring, right? We deal with that here too. It's, you get through a brutal winter and then a terrible spring, and then things dry up, and then the whole place catches on fire. And it's like, what are you going to do?
I used to have to turn the wipers on my car in the morning before I left work when the fires were up the hill. It was, just had to clean the windshield off. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always worry about our smokers. So we carry a metal 5-gallon pail in the truck with us and put the smoker in the pail so it's safe.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, how do you share this video? You go to present.
Yeah,
you share.
You can just present it, and whatever tab you got the video on, that's the one that you share.
Yeah, it says share video, extra camera slides,
Share the video.
and then it comes up. I got it, but and I say open it up, but it says the browser is having trouble sharing your video.
Is it a YouTube video or is it his own clip?
It's his own clip, I guess you'd call it.
Just you can email it to me and I can open it up in my browser and I can share my screen. And
Hey, Brad, when you were listening to that UBO presentation, did she say anything about how many hives she found hygienic in her test, or was there a percentage across the board with?
Sorry, I don't recall.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't recall.
No, that's okay.
We'll be. We videoed all the presentations. I think we have permission to publish that when it's ready.
I'd love to see that.
Ask me, and I don't know. Ask Ian. Ian's trying to edit it, so ask him when it'll be ready.
Smoker rule number 1, bee yard rule number 1, no smokers on the ground. Ian said.
Yeah.
You know, you don't think about it. And I'm pretty careful, but one year working in the bee yard, and I don't know, I popped my smoker open to get it going, you know, and I think an ember flipped out and set the grass on fire. You know, it didn't get away, but boy, it sure started growing way faster than you'd think. You know, I kind of just stood there and watched it because I was sort of curious, like, how much of a real danger is this and how fast will it go? And boy, it'll go if you're not paying attention. If you didn't see that ember jump out of there and had your back turned to it, be a pretty big fire before you realize what was going on.
We keep all our yards mowed too, so the grass is short in it.
Yeah, I keep mine mowed right down too.
Yeah. I noticed here, Ian, a couple of days ago, we started getting a bit of yellow pollen. Poplar trees are budding now too, so that'll help.
We're going to have to take a collection and buy Doug a candle.
I look better in the dark.
Good face for radio.
Did you get it, Bob? I emailed it to you.
Face for radio.
Oh, there it is. Let me download it.
Well, my bees abandoned my pollen feeder a couple days ago. So I guess the trees are open.
Yeah, it is kind of a grainy video.
Yeah, it's pretty grainy and loud. I don't know. I guess that's the wind.
All right, so let me pop up the tab here and show you.
We should see dandelions next week, shouldn't we, Brad?
Oh, gosh. Next week? I don't think so.
I think we will around here.
Will you?
Oh, yeah, you're up north in the wilderness. Yeah. I forgot.
I don't think I'm in the wilderness, but yeah, I don't know. Not here. I don't see dandelions that early.
Here it comes. Here, guys.
May long weekend, maybe.
Is that my sound? That's not my sound.
I guess it is.
It's a feedback.
No, it's not even playing. My video's not playing right now.
It's a feedback, though. You got a feedback going.
I do?
Yeah, just mute your mic temporarily.
How about now?
There you go.
That's better.
All right, let's see if I can get it to play here.
So that's the airport.
Yeah, it's at the airport. The wind just whipping too. So grainy video, but it's definitely dark and smoky.
Yeah, not nice when it goes dark in the middle of the day.
You don't have to use a smoker.
Yeah, right. Bees
I didn't.
Eating the stores to whatever they've got to try to get it, in case they got to relocate. But that's unusual. I wonder what actually happens inside the colony when stuff like that happens. Did they just load up the store and prepare to take flight?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, I don't know. I've never looked at it scientifically, but we've had that here a few summers since I started keeping bees. We've had that many, many times. But, and I mean, it's no more, the effect is no more pronounced than you would expect, that maybe the smoke is heavy in the air and the sun isn't as bright. And so there's maybe not quite as much flight or something like that. But it's not a remarkable difference. It doesn't change the bees' behavior in a dramatic way. They still forage. It's pretty normal.
That's we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that for James's sake, for sure.
Yeah,
it definitely sucks. Just the health issues alone are bad enough. You breathe that stuff for days and days. It really gets to you.
What? Yeah, and then worst case scenario. As far as the bees, obviously we know the worst case scenario for people in their houses. But if that would be total loss. Total loss.
Yeah.
And
how
do you bounce back
Ian's
from that?
pointing out some effects, and I guess what I was seeing was the smoke wasn't as low. It wasn't really ground smoke, but yeah, Ian got a lot of ground level smoke that year. A lot of grumpy bees and bearding.
How do you bounce back from a total loss from fires? Because you're looking at total infrastructure failure, right? Woodenware, everything. It's not just the bees. Bees you can replace, but it's the cost of all the equipment and everything, building time, getting everything built back up. That's the tragedy for a beekeeper there, I guess. It would suck all the way around, but
well, if you're fortunate enough to be an official, I was going to say an official beekeeper, but that's not the right term. Like a farmer beekeeper as your job, then you have a farm, and then you have farm insurance. So certain things are covered under that, but you pay that, right?
But so that is definitely a monetary recoupment, but everything else is still.
Well, that's the thing. If in late May, middle of June, wildfire came through and burned out my apiary, they're going to pay me to replace the bees and the woodenware and the frames and all that kind of stuff. My crop is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
There's $50,000 worth of honey that I'm not going to harvest. They're not going to pay me for that.
And do you have to buy a special insurance for that, don't you, Brad?
Well, yeah, it's a farm insurance policy, which is pretty common.
But I think isn't it? You have to have over 100 colonies to even have that in place.
No, that's not what that is. It's just a farm. If I say, "Oh, I'm a farm," then the insurance company says, "Oh, you're a farm. That means you're making money, and we want to make more money off of you." And they charge you twice as much insurance. And and but then you do get certain advantages. You get certain things because they're not going to put all my wooden-wearing bees on a homeowner's policy,
Right.
because it's a farm. Maybe you would if you had 10 colonies of bees that might be covered under your homeowner's policy. I don't know.
Can you imagine somebody knocking on your door telling you got 12 hours to pack up and get out of here? What would you take?
Yeah, my wife and my cats.
Yeah.
Awful decision to have to make.
Yeah, it is.
And hope you're diligent putting all your important papers in the same spot, right? Where you're not going around the whole house trying to dig them out and find them and everything else. So
That's true.
that's it's gonna be a tough one. So we'll watch that. Especially James is supposed to be flying down here this week, so maybe that'll change between now and Sunday when he's supposed to fly out.
Yeah, if there's a lot of ash in the air, they might not be flying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these engines don't like ash.
No.
Well, the water bombers are up. I know that. All the planes are flying.
So they have those type of planes there too, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, on kind of a different weather-related note, we've been getting a lot of rain up here in Central California, and the cherries are going right now. You want to talk about something expensive? These cherry farmers are having to hire helicopter pilots to fly over their orchards to dry the cherries.
Dry, yeah.
I wonder how much that costs.
Can you imagine? I've seen them do that in the Okanagan in BC. Same thing. So much rain, and they have to dry out the apple orchards. And they use helicopters. They fly the helicopters all night over these fields.
I just couldn't imagine the cost of that. I mean, I would.
I don't think it would be worth it. I mean, the way fuel, flight,
Yeah,
fuel and everything.
yeah.
It's got to be something like insurance companies doing that or something, so they don't have to pay crop insurance or crop failure insurance or something. It's got to be something, because how much money is there in apples and cherries?
Yeah.
Can't be that much.
Who knows? But that's crazy. And I think they had it dried out one night and then it rained again the next night.
Ed, you got the most sensitive mic on the planet tonight.
Yeah.
It does.
It picks
Yes.
up every.
Or
And
the
the squeakiest
squeakiest chair.
Yeah.
Well, it's a laptop mic now. It wasn't not even the earphones.
Well, it's really good.
It is really good. Working well.
In Texas, yeah, they're electric helicopters, so it's okay.
Oh.
Electric helicopters.
And
They're
they charge
solar
them
powered.
with the wind turbine and a solar panel.
Yes.
Mercy.
Well, maybe they're self-powering.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
That's funny. The
Poor James.
Charlie, you got to work tomorrow?
Yeah, I was looking at the time there. It's getting close to 11 o'clock. We'll have to call it quits here tonight, but it's been a very interesting conversation, and James has really brought a lot of.
Been a different evening, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been quite a different evening. I had to fend for myself for the first 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, here I'm quickly shoveling food in my face because I'm looking at Charlie just dying here by himself. And then my computer wouldn't work properly.
But like I say, next week, next Friday, I will not be on the air.
Oh,
I
maybe
know-
we should do something about that.
Well, yeah, Bob and Leah's show will come on.
Well, the Bob show, I don't know. Lee does Tuesdays, and I'm he'll pop in the chat, but I haven't seen him really come on extra live after that.
He's been working
busy.
extensively
Yep.
and everything. So it's I'm gonna go ahead and shut the night down, and thanks for everybody coming in and helping out with the show tonight.
Nice to see everybody.
Good to see you.
All right, I'm gonna go
All
ahead
right.
and end it.
Take it easy,
Night,
guys.
guys.
Good night, guys.